And declare the workshop closed at 6:04, and we'll take a 2-minute break.
I'm coming.
All right, we will officially reconvene the city council meeting. Thank our one member of the public, a highly paid professional, with us tonight. Ensure we don't have any French terrorists.
It's here to keep us honest.
Oh, is that what it is? It's now part of the public record. So we declare this meeting called to order at 6:09 p.m. And we've already conducted our normal administrative functions, so unless council has an opinion to the contrary, I would suggest that we jump right to the mayor's report. I don't have much to report, other than that I did travel around and saw that our surface water drainage system has been challenged because of the heavy rainfall. But I didn't note any flooding that was out of the ordinary. So, and I believe it's going to be drying out for the next few days, so I think we've dodged a flooding bullet, which is good. So that's all I have for the mayor's report. Agenda approval for tonight's meeting. The next item.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as written for the city council meeting for November the 19th, 2015.
Okay, Mr. Olson has submitted a motion to approve the agenda. Okay, do we have a second by Mr. Wilson? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is carried. Minutes approval from our last council meeting.
I make a motion we approve the November 12th, 2015 City Council meeting minutes.
Okay, Mr. Wilson submitted a motion to approve those minutes as written. Do we have a second?
That's good.
Seconded by Mr. Fentz. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Voucher approval.
To be determined.
We don't have any. Sorry, a week wasn't enough time to get everything together, so we'll have to bump that to the next council meeting.
Okay. We don't need to do the 1st of November?
We already did that.
Okay. Excellent. Public comment?
None?
Silence. Okay. Then city business. We'll proceed with item number 1. Council to consider ordinance 2015-08, permanent zoning regulations for marijuana use.
Nope, that's the old one.
Uh-oh.
Remember the new one I gave you?
Executive session.
10 minutes.
Yes,
You need another new one?
Well, as is so frighteningly typical, I think I might. Thank you. Handoff. Yes, it's we felt in discussion with our city attorney that it would be appropriate to engage in an executive session to discuss with legal counsel representing the agency matters relating to agency enforcement actions, or to discuss with legal counsel representing the agency litigation or potential litigation to which the agency or the governing body or a member acting in an official capacity is or is likely to become a party when public knowledge regarding the discussion is likely to result in an adverse legal or financial consequence to the agency. And so, is the council supportive of the 10-minute time? I think that it would be appropriate and necessary. We'll establish telephonic contact with our city attorney inside the executive session. And I will note that it is established under RCW 42.30.110, parenthesis I, then parenthesis small I. Okay, that establishes it for the public record. And so I would adjourn this city council meeting.
We should really have a motion to adjourn.
Oh, yes. So would we have a motion to approve this executive session?
Put a motion out to adjourn to an executive session for 10 minutes.
Okay, I've heard the motion submitted by Mr. Flynn. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, seconded by Mr. Olson. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. We'll adjourn this meeting at 6:14.
It's nothing against you. I'm going to leave for a minute.
I will report that the council is now returned. We've gavelled the meeting back to order at 6:35 p.m. And I would note that the council adhered to the guidelines established for that executive session. And we are now ready to address item number 2, officially to consider ordinance 2015-08, permanent zoning regulations for marijuana uses.
My question is, if we attempt to change or alter or do anything to these two, is that required to go back to planning? Is it required another time, or looking down weeks to come back to the same, delaying it?
And I'll have to go to the Department of Commerce as well.
I mean, down the road.
No, I mean, if we make a decision tonight to,
You have two options, item A and B.
well, he gave us another option on here, and that is the option of choosing neither and revising it. But if we do that,
Then we wait another.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
What about this? What if we, personally, I want A. That's it, okay? But I'm also fairly practical. Some of the people, and I've gotten this from reliable sources, not about this town, but in general, a lot of people are getting around the marijuana laws by having medical grows, and they're the busiest house in town. Okay? What if we accept B, where we allow medical marijuana, but everybody growing medical marijuana has to come to City Hall and get a license to grow medical marijuana, and that's the cost of a permit.
I thought about that. That was my first thought.
Mhm.
And we bounced that off of Jennifer. So what was her comment?
She said that she doesn't believe you can do that because in the state law, it says that people can grow their medical marijuana without penalty or civil something. I can't remember, not
Constraints,
fine, but
yeah.
something to that effect.
Well, we're not
Basically,
penalizing, we're doing any
But
civil.
she said that would be considered a civil, I'm sorry, whatever that word was, to impose a fee on them.
constriction.
Yeah.
She mentioned that too in the telephone about the equivalent of growing herbs.
Right.
You know, the state wouldn't require a license or a permit to grow your own garden herbs. She was using that.
But
comparison.
how do we, as a city, know, because does that say we have to keep another list of everybody in town that has a license?
No, we have access to that database that the state will require that they register with. So the state is going to engage in the permitting and the permit monitoring on an annual basis. They'll have to renew their license.
So there will be,
We could access, law enforcement could access it.
okay,
That's
Yeah,
how
they'll
we will
know.
keep track of
So
it.
They'll know who
the right
has
people
them.
will know.
Yes.
They'll know who has the plants and
Allegedly.
who doesn't have the plants, or shouldn't have the plants, I guess you should say.
so then somebody with medical marijuana, based on what little loophole they pull in the law, they can grow up to 15 plants.
Yeah,
Right.
I was surprised about that, I hadn't heard that yet, but yeah.
I hadn't heard it either.
Was that it?
16 ounces
Grow up
or
to
for
50
15
plants
plants.
for a
Yeah.
medical license?
Only if you have a special medical license.
Special medical.
The regular medical license is 6 plants.
Yeah. Oh, okay, that's
8
8
right.
ounces.
Because I originally heard it was 6 plants.
Yes, that's normal. If you have an exceptional, like cancer of some sort, you can get up to 15 plants and 16 ounces.
I want to show this to everybody here. And I would advise, I know it's a lot of BS, but there's some good information in here. You know, and I get a lot of this garbage in the mail, and I read all of it, because sometimes you run into something that's, has some information.
You're on a great mailing list, by the way.
What?
How do I get on that mailing list?
I don't know, I'll tell you what, just respond to one and you'll get,
Jeez.
you get, I'll tell you what, it fuels my fire really well.
Oh, yes, exactly.
But anyhow, this discusses marijuana in depth and goes into the hallucinogenic part and the medical side of it. And the reason I brought it, because it is very inexpensive. I've thought about ordering the stuff for some of the pains I suffer from. But there's zero hallucinogenic, and it's strictly the CBD portion of the product, none of the hallucinogenic. Anybody can take it, there's no side acts from it, and if you bought a year's supply of it, it's $15 a month. If you buy 1 month, it's $39. And that's cheaper than most people can grow plants with, because the plants are not cheap. So, until I heard that conversation in there, I'm ready to say, let's get rid of it and be done with it. But I can see us winding up in civil suit. I can see us in a lawsuit real quick. And I would rather not be in a lawsuit. I would rather pass it, get rid of the stuff we can, and just police the medical side of it big time. Because these guys, I know the guys in this town that are growing in medical marijuana, quote, quote, have more than 6 plants.
So do I.
Well, the current law is 15.
Right,
I think it's
but they have more than 15 plants too.
I'm just like Kevin is, I'm afraid if we go to a wholesaler, and what I call a wholesaler, more than 6 or 15 plants for medical, that we're gonna end up in a legal battle. That's my thought.
Well, technically, they can't, we can't end up in a legal battle until they pass that law in the middle of June, can we?
Yeah, June or July, yeah.
I tell you,
Since summers,
yeah, and
16.
I like to put up the highest wall possible until we have to tear it down. That's my feeling.
I agree with you.
well, the law passed. It's just the
It's not gonna be
Well, I
implemented.
mean,
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
and then when we come to the bridge and they pass the law, that gives us time to think about it. In the meantime, it gives it time for the people who are doing it to maybe seek alternatives during that period.
Or maybe sell their house and move out.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
I mean, that's my personal feeling.
comment from
All right, the law is not gonna be passed until July, is that what she
it
said?
already passed.
That's what I
It
thought.
will just become effective July 1st.
yeah, because they're still refining the particular
Yeah.
enforcement.
But it's a
We
done
can't
deal.
really enforce it till
Until
July.
July.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like the laws we had, nobody can enforce it until July. So if they can't enforce it until July, I like what Mark says, let's put up a big wall. And
Send a
then,
message.
Yeah.
we're gonna be paying close attention to this. And if it looks like it's getting, the heat's gonna start developing, and we rephrase we could rephrase it in a couple nights, have it done, and,
Legally, we got till June.
right.
You never
But
know.
that way would, like you said, would upset enough people that can't do anything, where they might decide just to leave.
It's possible.
And if they don't, and it looks like we're gonna be ganged up on, then we change it and move on.
You could have it sitting in a file.
Right, have it ready to go. How does everybody,
Oh, go ahead. Kevin, if I don't want to interrupt.
that's all right, no, that's okay. I just wanna know how everybody feels about something like that. I like putting up a wall. I've got grandkids, and I know there's other people with young kids in this town. And the stricter we make it, I think I really do feel that the biggest part of that problem will disappear when they see a strict enforcement. They see a strict guideline. Because right now the bet is, we're not gonna pass it. That's the bet.
They've been engaging in that activity with impunity.
Mhm.
And, they're waiting for tonight's council decision.
Surprised they're not
see
here.
Just what stance, yeah, me too.
Well, you know, and maybe alternative things like that, if it's publicly advertised in the area where the wall goes up. I mean, actually, I believe that a lot of them are on marijuana out of choice, because they like it.
Well, they want the hallucinogenic.
Yeah.
Now, if you can buy the medical portion
Right.
with no hallucinogenic,
Why not?
then why would you want the
Right.
plant
Unless-
with the hallucinogenic unless the medical portion is just
Pretext.
right. That's just, they're putting up a smoke screen so they can get the drug and get a high.
That's what I thought.
That's all. That's been the legal issues to date have proven that people with medical marijuana permission licenses have more than 15 plants, and they're growing plants and supplying all their buddies, and their houses are the traffic zone in the cities.
Put up a wall.
Yeah,
Yeah. So,
Okay,
very well.
now a comment from the city.
I'm sorry, that's a procedural thing. I'm not sure because we haven't done this before, but I'm thinking we may need to officially state what the planning committee's recommendation is since they held the hearing
Oh, yeah.
and the recommendation paperwork is in here and everybody's probably already read it, but I was wondering,
As
Mayor,
a matter
if
of
you wanted
public
to.
record, yes.
Yeah,
I think
state
it
what
was,
their
yeah.
position
Okay.
was.
Well, I could, speaking as the voice of the planning committee, it was emotion laden, somewhat tense at times, the conversation that took place, but the ultimate vote was 3-1 in favor of implementation of Plan A.
Right.
So,
I'm kinda dubious because of what I've heard today, this evening. I think this is actually a council decision. I really do.
yeah.
I'm scared of what could happen to our city.
The planning committee just gives a recommendation. Council is going to decide. That's how it is. So that needs to be made a matter of public record. So,
And what we're recommending is that we put up a big wall, but we're all aware of what's going on in the city. We pay attention to what's going on. And if we see the tide building against us, we will have an alternative plan ready. Hurry up and write it before anybody files paperwork, and we're clean and green. But we wouldn't have to worry about that until July, possibly June, to make sure we have it in effect before the law goes into effect. Because the state still hasn't given us a clear picture yet. They're still changing it. So it would behoove us to be strict and make everybody think that we don't have an alternative.
No, we don't have a,
You know, I
actually,
think
it
you're
gets down to the
recording.
point we don't have a decision because of the state laws. that are
Well,
going on.
that irritates me more than anything, to think that the state can tell us how we can live in our community. And that's, I really, we get stuck with that with the water, we get stuck with that with the sewer, and they're shoving all these costs down our throat. We have a chance here to stand up and say, this is the way this city believes. And we know that if we see the heat or the furnace building, we're gonna have to make a change before we get sued. But why not put up a wall right now and then be prepared for what might come? But if we put a wall up right now, we could scare off a lot of the people. I know right down here across from the post office, there's a major grow going on inside, and nobody can do anything about it. Well, if we pass A,
And
we could do something about it.
yeah.
Right.
Well, that's
And we could
supposedly-
eliminate, pardon me?
Supposedly he has a car.
Yeah, I know, but he doesn't have a card for the number of plants he has.
Well, he wouldn't have the legal right to do it in the city if the ordinance were
Right.
passed,
That's right.
Even if he has a card.
even if he has a car.
That's right. And he's been going with impunity, and that place is one of the major, every time I'm down, I do that food giveaway here every month. And every month, there's traffic in and out of that building the whole morning, him doing business. And it would be, a person like that, it would be nice to get him out of here. Really would. I don't resent people who live where they want to live, but don't try and bring your crap where we live. You know? So, I'll keep quiet, I've spoke all night, I'm sorry.
No, that's good. I should inform the council that I do have to leave by 7:05. The the latest tonight, unfortunately.
We'll get through this one and we'll
I
fly.
think we
Well, I make a
will.
motion that we,
Okay.
I move that we accept A.
There's a
Oh,
dialogue in
that's right.
the
Okay.
agenda bill.
Go ahead. Thank
I
you.
wanted to say something, I think.
You can do it after the second if you want. He's in the middle of a motion.
Okay.
He did start.
I know.
I move to approve ordinance 2015 08 related to regulation of the recreational medical marijuana uses, prohibiting the siting, establishment, and operation of any structures, property, or uses relating to recreational or medical marijuana production, processing, cultivation, storage, sale, delivery, exchange, or bartering, terminating the interim zoning ordinance established under ordinances number 2015-05, adopting a new chapter 20.80 to Vader's future municipal code, providing for servability and establishing an effective date.
Okay, and Mr. Pennison has submitted a motion as read. Do we have a second for that motion?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Mr. Olson. Now would be the opportunity for council to provide insight and commentary.
So I am for option B, regardless of what the attorney had to say. At some length, I've thought about this and discussed it with some folks, and I kind of put myself in a position. What if I was one of those people that felt that it worked for them, that medical marijuana was something that worked for them? Would I want to buy from this guy, or would I want to buy, or would I want to grow it myself? Which is why we all have our own gardens and we grow our own vegetables and have our own fruit trees. We know what goes on it. We know what it was grown in. We know the concentration. We know everything about it. Given the history of the industry, would you trust it if it came in a bottle? Where'd it come from? Who grew it? Would you trust it from the folks that we know are trying to grow it, supposedly legally? I don't think I would. I would much rather take care of it myself if it was something that I felt I needed. And that's how I feel about it. I don't feel I could trust the industry to provide that product to me. Now there's an argument to be made. Is it something that actually has medicinal value or not? If you believe it does not have medicinal value, then obviously banning it is the right answer. Since I've never used it, I don't know if it has medicinal value. But I'm not going to take that away from the majority of people that probably use this product responsibly. The folks that have gone through the process of getting a medical marijuana card. And it's even stricter coming forward in July. I want to take that right away from the majority for the few that would want to abuse it. And that's my feel.
I'm gonna have to go with Joe. I'm not gonna start a garden, but I'm looking at because of the legalities and stuff that's gonna happen. And that's why I got to go with Joe.
Now, I'm going to say right now, I've been involved on the plus side, on the good side of a drug battle for better than 20 years. I have I've put my life on the line for it, for the right side, for the good side. I've had my life threatened. I've had my family lives threatened. And so I know what kind of people are involved in this industry. I've been bribed. Our local grower here in town who wants to put in a big garden, he offered me $1 million if I would sign on and back his grow. Those are the type of people we're dealing with. So I talked to a drug enforcement officer for the county, for Lewis County. He works in Morton. I sat down with him when I found out what he did. I sat down and I discussed this whole situation with him. And he informed me that the majority of the people who are users of marijuana have cards for medical marijuana. And the majority of those are selling it. And this is from the government person. And then he said to me, he says, Kevin, it's proven medically that the relief they get is also available with other medicines. So I put that in my file of information. And then I didn't solicit this little bit of information, but I read it. And in there they explain marijuana. Marijuana 30 years ago was 1 part TBCs and 1 part CBDs. Today it's 30 part TCBs and 1 part CBDs. So they've increased the hallucinogenic and lowered the quantity of medical marijuana in all the marijuana plants that are being produced here in the States. All of them. So these people that are saying they want medical marijuana, I say let's call a spade a spade. If they want the medical side, here it is available very inexpensively. And I understand Joe's argument about growing at home because I grow at home. I don't grow marijuana, but I grow tomatoes.
I clarified that.
But the point is, yeah, I know, I get vague.
We're gonna take a soundbite right there.
Yeah, I know. That's out of context. The point is, the hallucinogenic part is very high, and the danger of the hallucinogenic part is very high. I've got medical reports that explain the mental damage it causes. For males, it's from 30 down. For females, it's under 20. And it causes major medical damage. So on that basis, I rule for A.
Some of the drugs that are prescribed as pain relief, these very strong narcotics, almost every one of them is extremely addictive. And once you get them, you have to be weaned off of them.
Marijuana, they've proven it is extremely addictive. The CBD, this portion of it, is non-addictive.
Well, following up your line of reasoning, Joe, if I was growing it, would I be qualified taking the pure stuff and giving myself the proper dose, knowing how to do it? It seems like if you have the pure stuff, you can intensify the quantity, or I mean, I don't know. I've never done it. So how do you know you're qualified to do it yourself? I don't know. I'm just asking the question because I know that.
What's the right dose, right?
Yeah, you can get.
Right.
But how do they figure that out? Are they qualified to do
I
that?
have no idea.
It comes down to just simply to me, just, it doesn't make our community safer. Which one of these two makes my kids and our neighbors a safer place? The road's safer, the park's safer, my backyard safer, people running through my farm in the middle of the night, which I've had happen. What makes it safer? So I think A makes it safer, and things could always be modified.
See, I was thinking that, what are we limiting? What are we changing by getting rid of the in-home medical marijuana growing for an individual use? Those people have a card for marijuana. It's available recreationally now, but whether they grow it at home or they go to Chehalis or Kelso and buy it, they're going to have it in their home. They're going to buy it. They're going to have it. It's in their home no matter what. The only difference is how they're obtaining it.
Well, if you buy it, you can buy it so much, but if you're growing it, you become a distribution point, or you could be.
You could be. You could break the law with it, just like so many other things in this world that you can use responsibly or break the law with.
It's a tough situation for us sitting here to make a decision. I go down West Side Highway by Lexington there almost every day, maybe once or twice, going to Longview. There's cars there at those 3 different places all the time.
The folks are going to have it either way. We're not changing that fact. We're just changing how they're getting it.
See,
That's right. But we had a person here at the planning commission meeting bragging about he grows his own. And he got in his car and drove home. And the police have said, and I think you'll verify for me, there's no way to test if they've been on it.
It's not true.
So the
There's
people,
a test. There's a THC blood level test.
but having
it's
it,
not available roadside.
but having it is one thing. Okay, you lawfully get it. But having the ability to be a distribution point is another thing. Because if you're going to have it, then one way, you have to spend the money out in order to get that kind of a bulk if you're gonna distribute it. But if you got plants growing there, plants reproduce, I imagine they do, or even furnish as much as you want.
I can go to Costco, buy a gallon of rum, put it in little jars, and sell it to kids too.
Can you buy that
No
much pot?
one, no one's going to stop me from doing that.
That's
Can you buy
illegal.
But it's illegal.
Yeah.
Just like growing your own medical marijuana, putting it in bags and selling it to
Well, I
people.
know, but can you buy that much pot at a liquor store?
I'm not sure how much you can buy. But you could probably go buy it every day. Or hit up different stores.
Costs you a lot of money to do that though.
Well, then you sell it. Just saying that if you're going to break the law with the stuff, you're going to break the law whether you're growing it yourself or you're not. It's
The same problem I have living in this city that other people's have when you plant a garden in the backyard. If there's a shortage of product and they're growing it, then there's kids can run around and take the plants at night. And so then it's available to anybody.
Well, if somebody's gonna break the law, I would rather put them in a position where they have to really work for it, or really spend for it. And it seems like if you say, you go with A, you're putting the strongest possible wall up, which forces them, if they're gonna do it in a legal way, they have to do a lot more footwork. And for me, that's good.
I'm pretty sure that the folks that are doing it responsibly, that have the plants at home, that are doing it right now, aren't coming in front of the city council and sitting up here and telling you that they're doing it. There's probably a lot of people out there doing it that do it responsibly the legal way,
No.
and they're not
I'm not
advertising
concerned with
it
that.
because if they advertise it, it
Yeah.
makes them a target, right?
See, I'm not
And there's a
concerned.
stigma associated with
I'm
it.
not concerned with that. The ones that are.
Exactly, but what we're doing here is we're taking away the responsible folks' ability to do what they've been doing because of a few that are going to break the law.
But if they've been doing it, they're people who are willing to break the law anyhow. Because there's only been growing in this state for a year.
The medical or marijuana.
So before that, it was illegal.
for
And they
medical
were,
marijuana?
it was all illegal, and they were growing it. And then they passed a law to legalize it. So that now they've become legal growers. So those people that are supposedly Mr. Perfect, saying that they're gonna uphold the laws, they've been breaking the law up until a year ago.
There's,
And now they wanna be legalized some more.
you've been able to grow for medical purposes for a while.
Not only since the law was passed, what was that, a year ago?
No, I think you could grow medical.
I think medically could.
It's been that way for
Before that.
quite a while.
This is recreational, it was 502.
So it's been around quite a while, and we're
I forgot, this is the pot-headed West. I'm not from the West.
you know, anyway. So
Okay,
we've had the discussion. There it is.
yeah.
Okay. Well, it's no surprise to me, with my responsibility to moderate this discussion, that it would come down to, when it's ultimately, at the end of the day, requires a vote, that it's going to bring out this sort of commentary. And I commend council members for your civility in expressing your opinions. And so it's a credit to you. I, being an elected official who doesn't get to vote on the matter, and in some communities is not even the mayor's place to provide commentary, I have decided to try and remain as quiet and supportive on the matter as seems appropriate to me. But after hearing your deliberation, I would want to make the matter a public record that it's my responsibility to ensure that the decisions that are made by the council are enforced. And I, for one, am sensitive to the medical elements and the needs of private property owners to engage within the confines of state law. There the opportunities to engage in them as they deem appropriate. But having had a considerable experience in the enforcement of federal law, which still finds that marijuana use is illegal, and that it has been proven statistically over decades of its use in our country to be a precursor drug, particularly in young people. I would be inclined to demonstrate our determination as a little tiny footprint within the confines of this county and state to make it as difficult as possible for individuals, because my experience is that as soon as you get a medical marijuana facility, that medical marijuana ends up in the same medical containers within the school districts within a matter of days. And we know that we're awash in this sort of thing, and so I'm of a mindset to do whatever we can to place as much difficulty before the individuals who have a historical track record of not being the most law-abiding and adherent members of our society. So I would be happier to support the application of Plan A over Plan B. And so, plus I've become acquainted with a number of the individuals who have engaged in the legal medical growing of their own plants, and have not found them to be the sort of individuals who are all that determined to follow the laws that are applicable to them. So with that, I'd be supportive, more supportive of advertising and implementing Plan A. But that is only, and that would be the last comment this mayor would make on the topic. But then invite the council to address the motion, which is before it, to approve Plan A. But I don't want to be the last word. And I do have to leave in about 60 seconds. So I'm going to have
Let's
to
bring it
turn
up for a vote.
Okay. But this is your opportunity.
I wanted to say one thing.
Sure.
I feel it is a bit reckless for the council legally to pass option A, given some of the things that we've found out. So that is my feeling from the legal aspect.
When you come down to the legal aspect, I feel it's reckless for us to thumb our nose at the federal government, especially with the election that's coming up. We could have a federal government that enforces the laws instead of flaunts breaking the laws. And if they decide to enforce the laws, from what I read, if a city council passes that, those who pass it are liable. And if the federal government decides to enforce their laws, they can arrest the council people for flaunting or usurping the federal laws. And I'm not going to take that chance. I've fought the feds. I know what it's like. I will not flaunt that, and I won't fight it.
Yeah, you're probably aware that 7 states have engaged in a
That's growing.
civil action. Yes,
There's states
against
surrounding.
Colorado, and they will likely add Washington and Oregon to
Right.
that
They're supposed to add those.
lawsuit. So, interesting. The comments to the left? Okay. Then let's put it to a vote. All in favor of passing Plan A, say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed?
Nay.
Aye.
Okay. So I hear 3 in favor of Plan A and 2 opposed. So the measure would pass by a vote of 3-2. Okay, very good. Thank you one and all for your input. Now, may I invite Kevin Flynn, our Mayor Pro Tem, to take the gavel? Would you be willing, Kevin, to
Sure.
conduct the remainder of this meeting? I think
I don't
things
get
are
shot.
fairly straightforward.
If I don't get shot, I'll do that.
Okay.
Pass the hand.
Oh, 4.
Whoa. He's armed and dangerous.
Okay, council's to consider ordinance 2015-11, master use permitting procedures. Up for discussion.
Look good to me.
Anybody else have a question on that? Or comment?
All right then.
I will admit that I had to spend some time reading this because it was not really clear.
Yeah, there's 16 pages of,
Blah, 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 legals.
Yeah,
Okay, well now, I would then call for a motion. Do we have anybody willing to?
I'll make a
step forward?
motion.
Good.
I move to adopt ordinance 2015-11 relating to the work by utilities and telecommunications providers in the public rights of way, setting standards for such practices and requiring a permit, adopting a new chapter 12.18 to Vader's future municipal code entitled Right-of-Way Use, Master Use Permits, and Utility Relocation.
Okay, do we have a second on
I'll
that?
second that.
Seconded by Mr. Olson. Any more discussions about that? Okay, let's bring it up for vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we've already done number 4. Pardon me?
I don't have my
Public
agenda.
No,
hearing.
number 4 was a public hearing
No,
on
we have
the...
not had a public hearing yet.
Okay,
This is a public hearing for the budget.
okay. Meeting's adjourned. Now we have a public hearing on the preliminary 2016 budget.
At what time?
It is now 7:11.
We have no one signed up for public comment.
Okay, anybody else have any comments on this? I'll just say that I think we discussed that earlier in the workshop, and we should move ahead with our preliminary discussions. We don't have to have a motion or a vote on that, do we?
We need to close the public hearing before you have any action. You can discuss.
Is there any discussion? Public hearing's closed.
At
Now, do we need a motion to vote on that?
what time?
At 7:12.
Okay.
Again, do we need a motion on that?
I'm sorry, I don't have, I gave my agenda to the mayor, so I'm on A, part A, council to consider, oh. Okay, so now we're on to 5, because we just completed 4, correct?
Right,
Right.
okay.
Okay, so yes.
Council considers a resolution 2015 property tax levy.
All right, and this is where we
Okay.
pick or not pick a new rate based on what's been discussed.
I gotta find my papers. I got them here. Okay, I've got that one here somewhere. Got it right here. Thank you. Okay, property tax levy for 2016, resolution 2015. Anybody have anything to comment on that?
With the way we are going today, and leveling of different kinds of taxes, I'm going to recommend only 1%.
Okay. Am I allowed to talk on this? With all the increases everywhere else we were discussing earlier, sort of to hold the line and not go the 1% this year. So I would, in my opinion, I'd say hold the line. That's just shows a little bit of good faith to the people in the city that we're not out trying to take all their money. Because they're going to get hit with water maybe, and they're going to get hit with sewer. So this is one way we can say we're not just out trying to take their money.
I think that's what probably ended in.
Is that what you meant?
What?
Is that what you meant, what Kevin said?
You didn't want to increase.
You didn't want to increase?
I don't want to increase it no more than 1%.
Yeah, what if we say we're not going to increase it at all? How do you like that?
Do what?
If we do not increase it at all, how do you feel about that?
I agree with that too.
Yeah.
Okay, are we ready to put this up for a vote? Let's have a motion, guys.
So your wording is here on the back.
Yep.
And if it's zero, just put in zeros in the blanks.
I move to approve resolution 2215, resolution of the city council of the city of Greater Washington to increase the actual property tax levy amount for the 2016 budget year and an increase for the actual levy amount for the previous year by 0, which is a percentage increase of 0% from the previous year.
Okay, we have a motion read by Mark Fennison. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Mr. Olson. Any more discussion?
I'm sorry, who was the second?
Justin Olson.
Justin.
Any more discussion on that? Okay, let's bring that up for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries.
That was 5-0.
Yes. Okay, let me mark my sheet. Budget.
And 5A.
Okay, 5A, council to consider 2016 administrative refund amount for 2016.
You want
Okay,
a quick explanation?
yes, I
Please.
do.
Okay, a quick reminder, every year when a house gets burned down or something changes, or they take a building off their property or whatever, and their property taxes end up going down after they've already paid their property tax, then those people get a refund. And our refund amount for the whole city this year was only $62.88. We have the option as a city to get that money back by spreading that amount among all of the citizens equally. So council has to decide, do they want to collect that $62.88 during 2016? Do they want to certify or collect a lesser amount, anything lesser than $62.88? Or do we want to not worry about it at all? So those are our three options here. So there has to be a motion for council to decide what.
Do we have a
steps they
worded
want to
motion, or we just make it up as we go?
I didn't write you one,
Okay,
I'm sorry.
let's have a motion. Anybody want to put a motion on that? We need a motion before we discuss. Let's have a motion. I can't do the motion.
I'm not clear on the options, what our options were again.
The options are, council can choose to collect that $62.88 that was refunded to the citizen, whoever the citizens were, during 2016. And they would do that by taking the $62.88 and spreading it equally among the taxpayers that are still here in 2016.
And have
Or-
them pay us $62.
And have them pay us the $62.88 that we lost.
I see.
Or we can choose to any amount up to the 62.8. So if you want to say, well, we don't want to do the whole 62, but we only want to do $30 of it, then you can choose to do that. Or you can choose to not worry about it.
Alright. So I see these options are built for very large numbers. So if they were
Last year, I think
hundreds of
we-
thousands of dollars for
Right.
some reason, then we
Yeah.
want to
Last year,
maybe
I
not
think we
collect
did
it all
it
at
all.
once. I
Right.
see.
I think we should do option 3. It would cost too much.
Yeah.
It costs us more
You're
to do
talking
the
about 30
options.
cents a household.
Yeah.
It's
The
not worth
difference
it.
in our,
Paperwork would
the
cost us
difference in
more.
our budget for $62 is really negligible,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. I would recommend, oh, I'm not allowed.
somebody needs to
Somebody
make a
else has
motion.
to.
I'd like to
Somebody-
make a motion for the council to consider for 2016 the administrative refund to adopt option C and just leave that total amount, whatever the amount was, as is. Just leave it. Leave
Just
alone.
ignore it.
Okay.
Just
So you
ignore it,
wish
right?
to
Ignore
not
it.
collect the administrative
collect.
refund?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, we have a motion by Justin Olson to just ignore the amount of money. Do we have a second on that?
I'll say it.
Second by Mark Fennison. Any more discussion? Okay, do we vote in favor or nay? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, council to consider equipment for sale by City of Centralia. What is that equipment?
Oh, the mayor has the paper. The city of Centralia sent out a notice that they had some equipment that they were surplusing. It's gonna go up for auction. However, if they sell it to another city, we can negotiate
auction?
that before the auction. The things that the mayor was looking at, there was a dump truck, 1987 Chevy dump truck, for, their initial offer is $2,500 for that.
Jeez.
There were two different trailers. One was for $1,000 and one, I think, was $500.
What size
They
trailer?
didn't give me that information
Okay.
yet. So what, there's a flail mower, which is what we're looking for, that side mower.
Yep.
But then they changed their mind and they decided they want to keep that. The other thing was a brush, like a street broom brush that would fit on our tractor to help us clean up gravel. And I think that was $800. And so what the mayor wanted to ask you is council interested in sending out our public works guy to go look at any of this equipment and see if it's
The
worth?
two things I'd be interested in would be the brush and a trailer. But the trailer has to be big enough to put our tractor on. Because our truck will pull that trailer with the tractor on it. And if it could do it, that'll save a lot of wear and tear in the tractor, to take the tractor to the park or mow instead of having the tractor getting all its wear and its tires out on the highways. So I would like to see him look at those two items.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's worth time to send him to take a look at them.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's gonna be working with it every day.
Yeah.
He needs to see it.
Yeah, he's certainly the person to take a look at it.
Yeah,
Okay.
So we're all in agreement on that one?
yeah.
Okay, gentlemen, that takes care of the agenda. That means the meeting is now adjourned at 7:21.